You will not mention her name again, Representative Crockett. President Trump's voice cut through the air, sharp and absolute. You crossed a line that doesn't exist in politics. You crossed a line into a family's home, and for that, there is always a reckoning. The morning had begun with the quiet hum of a nation at work. Inside the White House, President Donald Trump was meeting with his Vice President, J.D. Vance, in the Oval Office, discussing the finer points of a new manufacturing initiative. Sunlight streamed through the bulletproof windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air, a peaceful scene belying the storm about to break. It was a junior aide who brought the news, bursting into the office with a pale face and a tablet clutched in his trembling hand. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, you need to see this. On the screen, Representative Jasmine Crockett stared out with an expression of predatory righteousness. She was live on a major news network, her voice dripping with venom disguised as civic duty. It is with a heavy heart that my office must bring this to the public's attention, she began, the lie so smooth it almost sounded like the truth. We have uncovered deeply troubling irregularities in the immigration history of the Vice President's wife, Usha Vance. A clerical error, perhaps, but one that was never rectified. Under the letter of the law, one could argue she is, technically, an illegal immigrant. We cannot have one set of rules for the powerful and another for everyone else. I'm calling on the Department of Homeland Security to open an immediate investigation and begin deportation proceedings. The silence in the Oval Office was absolute. The accusation was absurd, a masterclass in malicious distortion. Usha Vance, a brilliant and respected lawyer, a daughter of Indian immigrants who had come to America the right way, a patriot and a mother, being branded an illegal immigrant, was not just a political attack. It was a character assassination of the most vicious kind. J.D. Vance stared at the screen, his face a mask of disbelief that was slowly hardening into cold fury. He felt the floor drop out from beneath him. They weren't attacking him. They were attacking his wife, his family. President Trump clicked off the tablet. He stood up, walked to the window, and looked out at the rose garden. For a moment, he said nothing. The air was thick with tension. Then he turned around, and the look in his eyes was not one of panic or concern, but of pure, unadulterated fire. "J.D.," he said, his voice a low growl, "they've made a terrible mistake." "Mr. President," Vance began, his own voice strained, They can say whatever they want about me. But Usha, she is a private citizen. This is a declaration of war, J.D., Trump finished for him, his tone leaving no room for argument. He jabbed a finger toward the dark screen of the tablet. Crockett doesn't think this is about a clerical error from 30 years ago. She thinks this is about humiliating you. She thinks she can get in your head, throw you off your game, and make us look like hypocrites. She thinks the media will run with it, and that we will be forced onto the defensive. The president walked over and put a hand on his vice president's shoulder. She's wrong. We are not going on defense. We are going to counterattack. We are going to expose this for the disgusting, bottom-feeding, political hit job that it is. And we are going to destroy her for it. He turned to his chief of staff. "Get me the White House counsel. Get me the head of communications. I want a full press briefing in the East Room in 3 hours. 3 hours. As the staff scrambled, Trump looked back at Vance. "Go call your wife, J.D. Tell her the President of the United States has her back. Tell her the entire administration has her back. Tell her that this will be over by sundown." The next 3 hours were a blur of controlled chaos. While the legal team unearthed the original documentation, a simple, long-rectified transposition of a date by a county clerk when Usha was a child. The communications team watched in disgust as the media went into a frenzy. Crockett's accusation, baseless as it was the lead story on every channel. Pundits debated the optics. The word deportation was attached to the vice president's wife's name over and over again. It was a smear campaign playing out in real time, a testament to the brutal cynicism of modern politics. In the midst of it all, J.D. Vance spoke with Usha. He heard the strength in her voice, but also the hurt. He saw the confusion in his children's eyes, and in that moment, his own resolve crystallized into something unbreakable. He would not just be a vice president defending a legal position, he would be a husband and a father defending his family's honor. When it was time, they walked towards the East Room. The press corps was packed in, buzzing with anticipation, like sharks that smelled blood in the water. The White House press secretary spoke first, her voice calm and professional. She laid out the facts, presenting enlarged copies of the original documents and the official correction made decades ago. She explained, in painstaking detail, how Representative Crockett's office had deliberately ignored the corrected document to manufacture their false claim. The legal case was dismantled in under 5 minutes. It was a clean, clinical execution. But this wasn't just about facts. This was about emotion. This was about the heart of the matter. Then, J.D. Vance stepped to the podium. He did not look angry. He looked pained, but resolute. He scanned the room, making eye contact with the very reporters who had, moments before, been questioning his wife's legal status. "Good afternoon," he began, his voice steady. "Today, a representative in the United States Congress attacked my wife. She didn't attack me. She didn't attack a policy. She chose to target a private citizen, a mother, a patriot, for political gain." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. "Let me tell you about Usha Vance. She is the daughter of immigrants who came to this country legally with almost nothing. They taught her to love this nation, a nation that gave them everything. She studied our laws, she respects our laws, and she has built her life and our family on the bedrock principles of integrity and honor. She is the strongest, most intelligent, and most decent person I have ever known. The idea that she would be accused of breaking the immigration laws she reveres is not only a lie, it is a desecration." He leaned forward slightly, his voice dropping but gaining intensity. "This was a political stunt, a cruel, calculated attempt to inflict pain on my family in the hopes of scoring a few political points, to use the awesome power of a congressional office to threaten a private American citizen with deportation for a headline. That is not just wrong. It is morally bankrupt. To Representative Crockett, I have nothing to say, but to the American people, I want you to know this. My wife is not a political pawn. She is the heart of my family, and my family, like your family, is sacred, and I will defend it, always." He stepped back from the podium, his duty as a husband done. The room was silent. He had not shouted. He had not raged. He had simply spoken the truth with a quiet, powerful dignity that no political spin could touch. Then, President Donald Trump walked to the podium. The atmosphere in the room shifted instantly. The quiet respect for Vance was replaced by a crackling, electric tension. The president's face was grim, his eyes narrowed. "What the vice president just said is the truth," Trump began, his voice low and measured, yet carrying to the back of the room. "Today we saw a new low. We saw a politician so desperate for relevance, so consumed by hatred, that she decided to wage war on a good and decent woman." He looked directly into the main camera at the back of the room, as if speaking to Crockett herself. "You will not mention her name again, Representative Crockett. President Trump's voice cut through the air, sharp and absolute. You crossed a line that doesn't exist in politics. You crossed a line into a family's home. And for that, there is always a reckoning. He continued, his voice rising with righteous indignation. You thought this would weaken us. You thought you could divide and humiliate this administration, but you have done the opposite. You have shown the American people exactly who you are, and you have shown them who we are. We are a team, we are loyal, and we defend our own. You didn't just attack the vice president, he thundered. You attacked his family, you attacked America, and now you will answer for it. This administration will be asking the House Ethics Committee to investigate this disgusting abuse of power. Let this be a lesson to anyone who thinks they can use lies to tear down this country and its good people. We will not allow it. We will fight you, and we will win. He stepped away from the podium. The press briefing was over. The aftermath was immediate and brutal. Crockett's stunt had backfired spectacularly. Within the hour, members of her own party were issuing statements distancing themselves from her tactics. News anchors, who had breathlessly reported the initial accusation, were now tripping over themselves to condemn her. The story was no longer about Usha Vance's immigration status. It was about Jasmine Crockett's shattered credibility and moral collapse. By evening, the firestorm had consumed its creator. Crockett was in hiding, her office refusing all comment. The image of the Trump-Vance administration, however, had been solidified. They were not just political allies. They were friends bound by loyalty. In the face of a vile, personal attack, they had not flinched. They had stood together, fought back with truth and righteous anger, and won a decisive moral victory. In the Oval Office that evening, the fire in the hearth crackled. The president and vice president sat in quiet contemplation, the day's battle won. "Thank you, Mr. President," J.D. Vance said softly. Trump simply nodded, a look of satisfaction on his face. Family is everything, J.D. They forgot that. We never will. When faced with a deeply personal and unjust attack, the administration chose to confront it directly with both facts and moral force. What do you think was the most powerful moment in their response? For more stories of conviction and leadership, be sure to subscribe to the channel.